Oh, what's going on, guys? Gamer Dude back once again with some more informative gaming news. So today we are going to be talking about Marvel's Avengers, a game that has since decreased in popularity and was thought to be dead. However, the game has recently been sold off to a set of new owners, and they've released a statement, and in this video we're going to be breaking it down and talking about everything they gave to us. But first things first, before we begin, if y'all are new to the channel, if you could please smash that like button and drop me a subscribe, it would be super appreciated and just would be your good deed of the day. Same applies if you're a returning viewer. So okay then, let's get into the video and break down everything they had to say and also throw in a couple of theories of our own. So right off the bat, update 2.4 is now live and in your hands, and we're excited to reveal news about update 2.5 and beyond. Beyond is good. I like the word beyond. We'll discuss that in a little bit. In addition to more details about the mighty Thor, we're also announcing the next step in our long-term plan to continue and expand the story and playable content of Marvel's Avengers. I like what I'm hearing, also good. We're also going to discuss this a little bit later. There's also a new Warzone and Omega level threat that will be coming after the next 2.5 update. So, great news. We're going to break all this down and dig deep into it throughout the video. So continuing on, they state they previously talked about their hopes that the gap between update 2.4 and 2.5 would be shorter than previous updates, and they were thrilled to say that they're actually on track to deliver this. So that's great. You know, obviously the new IP owners of the game want to keep it going. You know, they really want to give it all she's got. You know, they really want to give it a chance. They really want to try and be there for this game. So on top of that, my theory has been for quite a while that the plug was indeed going to be pulled for this game. However, this first statement casts doubt on that. You know, they talk about a long-term plan and state they're wanting to expand the story, which is fantastic. It's great. You know, that's better news than what Square Enix ever gave us when they were in charge of it. I personally loved this game when it first released. You know, we hadn't had a big superhero game since the likes of Ultimate Alliance, although Avengers did fall somewhat short of that, and obviously it will never live up to the greatness of the first two Ultimate Alliance games. It was still an ambitious project with tons of potential of which started to fall off the wagon with these sporadic character releases, updates that added more bugs than they actually fixed, and the promised or teased content that never came, which we're also going to break down through this video. But anyway, they continue with information about Jane Foster's Thor. The mighty Thor, aka Jane Foster, will come with her own challenge card and new heroic mission chain. Well, yeah, that's like all the other heroes, so not really sure that was worth mentioning, but continuing on. This will reward cosmetics and intelligence files that tell the story of how this version of Jane Foster found her way to our universe. Once again, that's the same with all the heroes, so I'm not really sure why that was worth mentioning, but anyway. She's a fully voiced hero with a suite of new abilities and gear, which brings a new actor to our ever-expanding cast. Now, I like that phrase, ever-expanding. So that tells me that they're not done with it. You know, they plan to keep this going for as long as they can. You know, they want to keep it alive. They hope that they can keep it alive. They hope the player base will like what they're doing with it, as opposed to what Square Enix were doing with it. So that tells me this game's got a future, which I'm all right with. I'm all right with that. Anyway, they continue to say Jane Foster will have her own collection of cosmetics, including emotes, takedowns, and nameplates, yeah, just like every other hero. Also, as well as Jane-specific remixes of existing Thor takedowns and emotes. So naturally, obviously, they're going to capitalize on the marketplace again with this character. No doubt she will immediately receive her MCU skin when she drops, but at least they aren't forcing these microtransactions on players. You know, they are optional. If you want to buy those credits, then fair play. Or if you're just starting out on the game, save them. Save the credits, because you can earn credits in the hero challenge cards. And if you save those, you can save quite a few credits and just wait for a big store sale. I mean, right now the Miss Marvel stuff's on sale. So if you like Miss Marvel as a character, most people probably do now because they're probably watching her series. But still, you know, just wait for a sale. Save your credits. That's what I always do, and it always pays off. Anyway, they continue on to say, in our previous update, we revealed that as Thor, some of Jane's abilities will naturally echo the Odinsons. However, Jane is her own kind of Thor, and several design changes have set her apart from Thor. So gratefully, this answers the big question as to whether or not she would have just been a reskin of Thor with the exact same abilities and attacks. So that's reassuring. Anyway, the biggest differences start with a new intrinsic All-Mother's Blessing. Similar to All-Father Blessing, I'm guessing you just hold down the R2 button and it's similar to what Thor does with the lightning around him, gives you somewhat invulnerability. They've also said she's going to have a new overcharge ability called God Tempest. Sounds alright. She's got a completely different ultimate ability to Thor. The All Weapon, which is also a brand new, as they draw inspiration from her comic runs as Thor and Valkyrie and allow you to smite foes with Jane's Hammer. I'm just going to say Jane's Hammer, as well as Mjolnir. See, that one I can pronounce, Mjolnir. So, yeah, we'll just say Thor's Hammer and Jane's Hammer in future. But yeah, anyway, that's kind of dope. So she gets her own unique weapon. You know, she's not just going to be using Thor's Hammer. But from that, it also sounds like she can call upon Thor's Hammer for one of her attacks. So that's kind of dope. So she'll be using her own hammer as well, but she can also call on Thor's hammer when it comes to the ultimate attacks, which is great, you know, because it connects that character. The whole reason Jane Foster is Thor is because she was able to lift Mjolnir. So it does stand to reason that she would use it in some capacity. Anyway, they continued on to say that some of Jane's baseline abilities are also new, which include her new ranged combo attacks and new ranged power attacks. So that's interesting as well. I'm eager to see what that'll be about, because with Thor's ranged attacks, it's you're flying and you shoot lightning out the hammer, or you just throw the hammer and pin an enemy. So I'm interested to see where they go with that. They also say on top of this, Jane will perform some of the familiar abilities she shares with Thor with her own signature flair. Alright, so essentially that part of her character is a reskin, as it was probably just easier for the devs to copy and paste certain flares from Thor, with her being somewhat of an identical hero. They also did say to stay tuned, because they're going to release more information and an actual gameplay trailer. And, you know, we can also expect Jane to drop sometime in the middle of June, which is great because we're in June, so nice. Drops before the Thor movie. And now I want to talk about the cloning labs, which is a big shock. Finally, after 2 years, we have news on the cloning labs. This was supposed to be an ambitious Warzone mission, which really speaks for itself. The closest we actually got to this was the Monica villain sector, which was part of an entirely different character story. So it's great that they are finally bringing this in. So here's what they had to say about it. The cloning labs will be new endgame content that rewards conquering heroes with high power level gear for brand new exotic gear sets. So what this tells me is that the new reward system that they've recently added will be a big part of this mission chain. Instead of getting a gear piece of, say, 140, when your hero level is, say, 157, you'll now get an equal or higher piece compared to the gear piece that you have equipped. So if you've got a 157 gear piece equipped, you might get a 160 gear piece, or you might just get another 157 gear piece, which is fantastic because I am so sick and tired of running the OLT just to get 2 extra gear pieces. Now, next they addressed that it has been a long time since the Cloning Labs was first announced. Well, no shit! Square Enix announced the Cloning Labs, everybody was super psyched for it. You can still actually collect gear for the Cloning Labs in the game, they never removed it. I've got a bunch of it in my inventory just in case. And it never happened. It never released. They continue to say that since its original conception, our design philosophy for the game has evolved to be much more villain forward focused. And that they decided that the design for the missions, the design for the Cloning Lab missions, no longer met their own standards. And that they think the changes they're making essentially or especially the new boss fights, will make for a much more satisfying and meaningful Omega level threat experience. So basically, once again, what this tells me is that they've had to completely take it back to the drawing board at some point and essentially redesign it from scratch, which probably does explain why Square Enix, when they were in charge, mentioned absolutely nothing more about the Cloning Labs, because they announced it and then that was it. That was all we heard. It was like they just decided not to tell us anything more about it. But they probably, actually, I'm thinking they probably didn't even intend to release it at all, or they hadn't even started working on it and just announced it prematurely. Because at that point, the game was seriously needing some new content. And finally, the big elephant in the room has also been addressed, and that's MODOK. Yes, we finally got some information about MODOK, that he will officially be returning in a future patch after Jane Foster, which also could indicate that the new owners of the Avengers IP are willing to bring new life into the game and bring it back from the brink of death. Now, most of you watching have probably finished the story and wondered what happened with MODOK after he took the big plunge into San Francisco Bay with that Kree giant. I thought that he was going to come back way later on, because that Kree giant sent out a signal to the Kree, and I assumed that was going to be a story to do with Captain Marvel, which still no news on her, but yeah, anyway. But yeah, it looks like this whole MODOK thing is going to address that. So our questions have finally been answered after close to 3 years. But yeah, here's what they had to say about MODOK coming back. They'll be adding to the game's story with 2 new challenges as part of an ambition to advance their narrative through hero and villain-centric content. The first will be a villain-focused Warzone that will reveal MODOK's fate after the defeat of his Kree Sentinel. That will also lead the heroes to AIM's Cloning Labs, a new Omega level threat where your high level strike team will challenge and defeat a revitalized MODOK in a new multiplayer villain fight. So, going back on what I said, it doesn't sound like it's going to be the original MODOK. It sounds like it could possibly be a clone, hence Cloning Labs. But I'm not too sure. It could be the real MODOK. He could have survived his plunge into the bay, but with his big head, I'm guessing he would have sunk like a log. But who knows? We won't know until we see more, so I'm not going to comment or speculate. But yeah, not only are we getting MODOK, but it's going to be a brand new OLT mission. And all I can say to that is thank God. I was getting so tired and fed up of a near indestructible robot with all the powers of the Avengers. And having to fight through it and with those tacky on collectible thingies with the time limit. It was just so frustrating and infuriating. Especially the times that the pickups didn't work. So, be great for a change, you know. But this new OLT will certainly offer higher power gear under the new reward system that they've implemented. Not only that, it seems it's going to be part of an ongoing mission chain which leads the Avengers to different cloning labs around the various regions on the war table. You know, much like it was in the story mode when you were discovering the AIM hives. But yeah, I for one am simply looking forward to a new villain that allows us to fight villains other than Taskmaster, Abomination, and giant robots. I mean, okay, sure, we got Maestro, but you can't tell me that's not just an Abomination reskin battle. I mean, seriously, it's identical. So, what comes next? Well, apparently, after update 2.5, there's going to be an ongoing and recurring series of hero and villain updates. I like that. But hopefully this means it isn't the end for Marvel's Avengers, and we can expect more content and characters in the near future. Hopefully more unique characters, not copycat heroes like Female Thor, She-Hulk or War Machine, just copies of Hulk and a copy of Iron Man. You know, a more unique hero such as Doctor Strange would be nice. I would really love to see what they do with Doctor Strange in a game like this. But anyway, yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Once again, if you are new to the channel, please make sure you smash that like button and drop me a subscribe. It would be super appreciated and just your good deed of the day. So stay tuned for Sunday because we'll be continuing our Telltale game series with the final episode of Season 4 of The Walking Dead. So yeah, that being said then, this has been Gamer Dude. Happy gaming, and I will catch y'all in the next one, guys.